In this video, I'm going to be going over Mag 7. We've got NVIDIA, Tesla, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. We'll go ahead and start off with NVIDIA here. For NVIDIA, just keep in mind that today is May 8th, 2025. NVIDIA here currently is at $117 per share. You can see here we are on the daily chart. NVIDIA is below the 200-day moving average. And so in my personal opinion, I do think we are at a current dip opportunity still. Again, in our previous videos, I mentioned that between 117 and 96 is where I would look to add into NVIDIA. We did go all the way down to about this low of 86.62, and I do believe we already bottomed out. This would have been a really nice entry point to add a big position. Anywhere between 96 and 117, I wouldn't mind adding there as well. That's my preferable entry. And being below the 200-day moving average, which is 125, I still think it's a good dip opportunity. From the current price here of 117 all the way to the high of all time, 153, it's going to be right around a 30% move for NVIDIA. So there is still a lot of upside potential here for NVIDIA. That being said, there should be a new all-time high being tested in the future for NVIDIA stock as well. Definitely want to be in on this early rather than later, closer to the all-time high, which again is personally why I'm adding into NVIDIA while we are below the 200-day moving average. So NVIDIA here personally is a buy for me at 117, all the way up until about 125 is where I'll stop buying NVIDIA or lessening my purchases. Tesla here is going to be the second stock I'm taking a look at. Currently Tesla is at 285. We are now breaching the 200-day moving average. You can see we broke below here right around February and March of 2025. Looking for a bottom, we have this bottom here of 214, pretty close to our major support here of 213, right? And then here we are testing the 200-day moving average multiple times, and now once again, multiple days here in April all the way to May here, so far testing the 200-day moving average, which is 292, 293. Once we break above that 200-day moving average, should be able to see a potential move here between 313 and 355. That's just my personal prediction there. 313 could be a potential resistance level to keep an eye on for, but I don't think it should last that long. If you want to compare the current price here of 285 all the way up to about 313, we have an additional 8% move to the top side. You also got 355, which is a 23% move. And then of course the all-time high, which is a lot to recover, but it's going to be right around a 69% move back up to the top side. And again, in my opinion, I do think we are going to get a pretty big recovery here for Tesla stock. Again, while we are barely below the 200-day moving average, this stock here is also a buy in my opinion. And again, we're starting to run out of time in my opinion, where it gets a lot riskier. I don't personally want to be buying Tesla when it's above 355, 406. Those are the kind of prices I think it's going to be a little bit riskier and more volatile, as it could move sideways or even up and down. I think right now where we're at below the 200-day moving average is a pretty good entry point. And so personally right now, I really like adding into Tesla. Just want to bear in mind that the risk definitely is higher when Tesla is above the 200-day moving average. Would probably take this as a dip opportunity and be cautious of 313, 355 resistances. In case those do reject, we could potentially have a short-term pullback to the downside. And again, I want to keep in mind resistances of 313, 355, 406, and then of course, long term at some point, we should be able to get this all-time high test at 488. Apple stock here currently at 197. We're still well below the 200-day moving average, which is right around 226. With our price here at 197, we are below this major support here up to 206. All right. This could also be a resistance level in the short term as well, however you want to view it. If you want to view the current price here all the way back up to the all-time high at about 260, it's going to be right around a 31% move back to the top side. And so yes, I do believe between 173 and 206, Apple stock here is a pretty good buy in my opinion. I personally wouldn't mind adding into Apple. And again, the 200-day moving average is at 226. So dip opportunity between 206 and 173 is a really good entry point. And if you somehow miss this below 226, I still wouldn't mind adding into Apple, especially if I'm long-term investing into, again, Apple stock. I do think the all-time high is going to be retested there with a 31% move. All right. Now for Meta here is going to be at 597 from our current price all the way back up to the all-time high. It's going to be about a 23% move all the way back to $740 per share. We are above the 200-day moving average, and so personally, how I'm viewing this, I don't mind adding a small position for Meta, but I wouldn't be adding a big position. My reasoning is the dip opportunity for Meta, at least for the best dip opportunity, has already passed. That was between 581 all the way down to about 490, or if you want to view 480, that was our recent low here for Meta. So being below the 200-day moving average, this would have been a really good dip opportunity. If you did buy into Meta, congratulations. This, I think, was a really good dip opportunity. Here we are now above the 200-day moving average, so would look to add small positions at a time. I don't want to be adding too much of a big position here in case there is in the future going to be that dip opportunity again below the 200-day moving average. That's where I would like to add more, okay? Just to recap, 200-day moving average for Meta is going to be at 580. We got Microsoft here with a pretty big gap up to the top side. We had a low of 344 and now currently at 437, so definitely a big move here to the top side from our recent low. We are above the 200-day moving average, and so personally, I'd probably look to wait for a better dip opportunity, or if I don't mind, then possibly add small positions at a time. If I have a lot of cash on the side, I probably wouldn't want to be buying a big portion of Microsoft at the moment. Like I said before, most of these stocks below the 200-day moving average is a better dip opportunity, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't be buying now, but I'm just saying personally, the better dip opportunity for Microsoft would have been down here below the 200-day moving average. Anything below 413 would have been pretty good dip opportunity, or if you did watch any of our previous videos, between 405 and 367 would have been a really neat entry as well. Not trying to time the bottom, just saying the ranges here are looking really good, right? We did hit this low of 344, which is a breach below 367. It was only for a couple of trading days, and then we had a pretty nice recovery here back up to the top side, as well as that gap up that we just had as well, breaking 440. Now we're just sitting at 437. So with Microsoft, I would either hold my position or wait out for a better dip opportunity to get back into Microsoft, okay? Of course, the all-time high, if you want to view it from our current price, it's going to be right around a 5% move. We got two more stocks. Google here, currently at 154. Google here down. I think one of these days we had Google down like 9 or 8%. So definitely keep in mind the volatility for Google could potentially continue, whether it's up or down, right? The 200-day moving average sits at about 170. And so I do think we are going to get eventually a recovery to 170. That is going to be right around an 11% move back up to the top side. So definitely something to keep an eye out for, as well as the all-time high at 206. That there is going to be a 34% move. Do I think Google is a buy right now? In my personal opinion, anything below the 200-day moving average, like I've been mentioning, is a really good entry. So below 170 is going to be below that 200-day moving average. The best dip opportunity, in my personal opinion, is going to be between 145 and 160. I think that's a really good point to be adding into Google, which is where we're at currently. 154 here. I think Google is a pretty good buy here and should be, in my opinion, safe for a potential move back up to the 200-day moving average. And I would also keep an eye out for this resistance here of 177.58. Amazon here is our last stock. This one here is at 191. We are below the 200-day moving average. The current price, again, 191 versus the 200-day moving average, which is at 199. Once we break above 199, should expect to see this full recovery for Amazon stock as well, whether it's a stair step up or a sharper move back up to the top side. Back to 242 is going to be 26% move, so definitely something to keep an eye out for. And right now, while Amazon is below $200, I do think this is a pretty good dip opportunity. Of course, if we fall below 180 again, anything between 180 and 162 is going to be a really good dip opportunity where I would look to add a bigger position into Amazon stock. Where we're right now, I also don't mind. I think it's a really good dip opportunity so long as we're below this 200-day moving average. And I do anticipate this recovery to start coming in the next couple of weeks here. So definitely keep an eye out for the 200-day moving average to be tested. And if you're looking for the all-time high, which is at 242, that is going to be a 26% move back up to the top side. If you are in any of these stocks, let us know down below in the comments what your average is and what you're currently doing with these stocks as well. Personally, in my own portfolio, one of my experimental portfolios, I do have a really big position of Tesla and NVIDIA shares, possibly looking to sell covered calls, but in the meantime, I do think we are going to get a pretty nice recovery for the Mag 7, and yes, that does include Tesla and NVIDIA. I think at some point during this year of 2025, I think it's going to occur a lot sooner than people are expecting. For example, Tesla here, a recovery back to 488 seems pretty crazy, and most people would say that's unlikely. However, if you already looked at this from 2024 all the way into 2025, you can see there has been a lot of volatility already during the past 12 months. Again, we even hit a high of 488. Meanwhile, we had this recent low here of 182, right? This is all the way back in August of 2024. It took us just a couple of months before we rallied all the way up to 488. That was about 4 months of a move here from that low of 180 to the high of 488 between August and December of 2024. Look back where we are right now. This could most definitely happen again. We could potentially even break a new all-time high here for Tesla. So again, I wouldn't doubt Tesla. I do think we are breaking above this 200-day moving average. I think once that does occur, watch to see if there's any support levels that could form between 313, 355, or even 406. If so, we could potentially keep stair-stepping back up and eventually make a new all-time high for Tesla. Tesla here is one of my top 2 positions. All right, my second position is going to be NVIDIA, where I personally, again, wouldn't mind buying at these levels. NVIDIA here below the 200-day moving average, and the move back up to the all-time high is 30%. The thing is, people are expecting NVIDIA to reach the all-time high at 153, possibly by the end of the year. But in my opinion, I think this could occur a lot sooner than people are expecting. All it takes is a bit of volume and momentum, and we could potentially see NVIDIA back in its 130s, 140s, and of course, 150 there, making a new all-time high, which could lead into more momentum and more volume as well. Look out for the ranges between 153 and 180. If 180 is the test I'm looking for within this year, it's going to be right around a 53% move. So this is personally why I'm so bullish on NVIDIA and Tesla. I do know that there is going to be a pretty good momentum move coming pretty soon. That's just my personal opinion. Again, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Which of these Mag 7s are your favorite stocks to buy? And which of them are you not buying? Are you waiting for a bigger dip opportunity? Personally, in my opinion, I think Microsoft is one I wouldn't touch at the moment. It's already pretty close to its all-time high. And, you know, from our current price here to the all-time high is right around a 5% move to the top side. Google here has some, definitely has some room here to run. Definitely oversold here in my opinion as well. Taking a look at Amazon, I think Amazon's a pretty good dip opportunity. But again, looking at all these stocks, you know, even Meta here above its 200-day moving average again. Don't want to add too much here into Meta. I think I would, in my personal opinion, I would allocate my personal money more into Tesla, NVIDIA, or perhaps even Apple stock. I think Apple, Google looks pretty good. Even Amazon looks pretty good as well. It seems like the only stock I would consider putting on hold or not buying is likely going to be Microsoft and Meta. And though, you know, I'm sure long term, if you're holding this stock for the next couple of years, should be fine, and there shouldn't be much to worry about in my personal opinion. Thank you guys for watching, and if you feel like this video was helpful in any way in terms of me sharing support levels, resistance levels, and levels I'm looking to personally buy at or potentially sell, let me know down below in the comments, and would love to hear your guys' feedback as well. And even if the video is too long, let me know as well. But if it's just perfect, thank you for letting me know. If you do, let me know, and subscribe, turn on notifications. Feel free to turn on notifications, as I will be making more videos for each of these Mag 7. And again, I do make videos on a daily basis for Tesla and NVIDIA. If there's any other stocks you guys want me to go over, just let me know down below in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to make a video on it as well, okay? Last but not least, if you haven't yet joined our Discord, link down below in the description. It's free to join. We have over 32,000 people. And last but not least, if you also want live entries and exits on stocks and options, feel free to check out our Patreon. We do have a permanent 90% off discount right now, celebrating our 5-year anniversary. Check out the Patreon, see if there's any open spots.